Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Diabloherald, a podcast where we talk about all things relating to Diablo 3, the game, and anything relating to the Australia and New Zealand regional issues and that kind of thing. Today we are going to be talking about our first impressions of the game. Inferno Diablo goes down. We've got some monster affixes to discuss. The real money auction house is delayed, and Blizzard comes to the rescue of gamers who pre-ordered at game. Today, Highlander is not with us. He's a bit busy, just too many things on for him. I don't think he's even had that much chance to play the game. But to get another voice in there, I picked up one of the guys from the D3 Down Under forums, Chet. How you going today?
Hey, good, thanks, mate.
That's good. And we've also got Curtis, weightless as usual. How you going?
Good.
That's good. Cool, so I guess we'll jump into our first topic. So, the Inferno Diablo was taken down by the guys at Method Gaming. Did you guys watch the stream at all? Curtis, did you watch it, or were you too busy playing?
I was too busy playing, yeah. I don't want to watch someone play, I want to play.
Yeah, well, apparently, I mean, they took him down, but, you know, it's kind of, I'd say almost in a cheating way, you know, doing a lot of corpse hopping and that kind of thing. Did you look into this at all, Chet?
I didn't watch the stream because I didn't want any spoilers, but yeah, corpse hopping and skipping elites, that doesn't really count as passing Inferno.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, they killed Diablo, but, you know, it's kind of taken all the challenge out of it. You know, it seems like the rare and champion mobs are really the most difficult part towards the end of the game. I mean, I just killed Diablo on Nightmare, and that was way easier than some of the rares I ran into. So, yeah, it's interesting. But I don't know how much of an achievement it really is at this stage. I'm sure they would have had, you know, lots of guys hunting for their gear and just feeding them gear and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Anything else to say on that?
Yeah,
not really?
I think that sums it up pretty well.
There's not much to say about it, really. So the next thing is that the real money auction house was delayed by another week, so it won't be functional till May 29th. I don't know how much this really impacts me, because I don't really plan on using it anyway. Were you guys planning on using the real money auction house? Curtis, were you planning on buying anything?
Nah, not yet anyway.
Selling anything?
Selling things maybe, but at the moment, obviously with it down, just doing the gold and using JSP to get a bit of forum gold on there. Hopefully trade it later once the prices settle down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The prices are all over the place on the gold auction house at the moment, so we'll see. Chet, were you planning on buying things on the gold auction house or the real money auction house?
Nah, I'm the kind of player that likes to find my items myself. Whether it's going to be possible in D3, I'm not sure. But I'd maybe sell on the real money auction house if I could.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of items and stats, and people they haven't worked the game out, and I'd like to sit down and play around with different items and different stats. So I want to stock it all for myself to just try out different things.
Yeah.
And then by the time I go to sell things, everything's worth nothing, so probably won't do that.
Yeah, it's so hard to know right now what's going to happen with it all, because, yeah, it's just all over the place at the moment. And I suppose the more people that reach level 60, the easier it is to come by rares, and, you know, the less value they'll have. So, we'll see what happens with that. So another thing that happened close to the release of the game was the retailer game went into administration. You guys obviously know about this. it was something that we talked about in the last podcast. But Blizzard actually came to the rescue of all the people that pre-ordered the game with game. That's really confusing to say, but any Australian will know what I'm talking about. We have the retailer game, which you guys don't have in New Zealand, so you don't really know anything about it.
Yep.
But, yeah, but the cool thing was that Blizzard came along and said, hey, you know, we realize this sucks. Everyone that pre-ordered at game basically didn't get it, didn't get their game on release day. So they said, if you buy a digital copy on release day, I think they gave you till like the end of May or something, we will refund your deposit that you left with game. So they're basically going to be paying out all those deposit amounts, which is really cool. If I bought it at game, I'd be so pissed off, and I'd definitely be taking Blizzard up on that. But, I mean, one of the thoughts I had about it is, I wonder if, for most people, they probably won't actually be losing any money, because if they're selling it like $79 each to us, then the money that they're making back on distribution costs, I would imagine, will cover most of the deposits, you know, because I think most people would leave just like a $10 deposit. So yeah, I thought that was interesting, really cool with Blizzard, but it's not that much else to say about that, really.
No, not really. Good,
Yeah, sum it up.
good PR move. Well done, Blizzard.
Yeah,
definitely.
Cool. So something else I found on the forums, apparently people have been losing all their items and money in the game. Neither of you guys have had this happen to you?
No, I haven't, but I'm kind of scared about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I read a lot of the thread. It was really, really long, so I didn't read all of it. But it was basically just like logged on after restarts and all my stuff is gone. And, you know, some people saying that it could be due to hacking, which is weird because, you know, why would someone just log in and delete all your stuff and then leave? Because it's not like they can, you know, mail it to themselves like you could in WoW, or, you know, take the gold or whatever. They can't really do anything with it. So, I don't know if it's a bug or what, but Blizzard's basically, their response was just get in touch with, you know, support, and they've been rolling back accounts apparently, but there was one guy that said his account was rolled back till when he was like level 24, and it got rolled back to being level 12, and he was kind of like, well, that doesn't really help me, because now I'm level 12 and I don't have any of the gear that I wanted back anyway. So he went back and asked them to put it back, and they said it couldn't happen. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Yeah. I guess it'd be different if you were like level 60 probably, but yeah, so hopefully they can fix that up. I don't know if it's a bug or what, but
I imagine it's probably just like a server issue, because there's been quite a few like lag spikes, like real bad ones, or servers going down and stuff like that. Probably just something unlucky there. Yeah,
actually, I had that just today when I was playing. We all got disconnected from the game, and when I came back, like I just melted down a couple of items at the blacksmith, and I had all those items back, so it obviously lost, you know, the last minute or so of whatever happened.
Yeah.
But
it was not a big deal, so yes.
I haven't had any problems with rollbacks, but for some reason, the game changes the region back to Europe for me. So when I log in, I have nothing. So I know it could be that for some people.
Do you have a European version or something?
Yeah, I chose the GB English one.
Ah,
as opposed to the US one.
Did you get it online, or?
Yeah, I downloaded the online version.
Okay, just from Blizzard?
Yeah, the Blizzard.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Cool. Well, I've got a few topics from the D3 forums here as well. A lot of people were complaining, you know, that legendaries don't seem legendary items don't seem very strong. There's a lot of blues that are just way better. Have you guys found legendaries? Curtis, have you found a legendary item yet?
I found 2 of them real early on, but they were both pretty bad. Like, yeah, the yellows that I had on, or blues even, were better than them.
Yeah, they're just like low level ones.
Yeah, like level 20 and like level 11 or something like that.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I never really understood, like the low level legendary, because you're never going to get to use it for that long. You're always going to find an upgrade pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, sometimes they're good. It just depends on the role, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Have you found any legendaries?
Yeah, I found 3. 2 of them were Demon Hunter specifics, so I couldn't use them on my Witch Doctor. And the other one was a Mage Fist. I can't remember what level it is, but it's a pretty low one.
Yep.
So, I got to use it for a few levels, and that was it.
Did you hold on to them, or?
I still got them. I think the Demon Hunter ones, I promised I would pass them on to a friend. The Mage Fist, I just kept because it reminds me of the D2 Mage Fist gloves.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Did you read the forum post on this about the blues?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't like that legendaries don't feel like anything except a different colored rare.
Yep.
And again, with the stat thing, I still don't know if it's better to upgrade to a blue item with only 2 stats and more armor than to keep my rare, which has a lot more stats.
Yep.
It's always it's a difficult decision. I'm still not convinced which way to go.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of wish I just had like a little program that I could just put everything in and it would tell me, like gear ratings, use this. Well, I suppose it's not that simple.
Yeah, no, it's quite...
I guess it depends on how you play, really, and what you're doing. Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, I think that's it, really. It's people not really understanding in this thread, understanding like how the randomness of the game works, and that's sort of how the blues respond to it. Like Bashioka had a response that said, intended design is for end games characters to have a mixture of set, legendary, rare, and crafted items. So, yeah, legendary items are commonly not going to be the best items. It's the title that denotes a named item with set stats. So, basically, yeah, it's just a pretty item. It doesn't mean it's going to be the best item. So, completely random items always have the potential to be the best items because they're completely random. So if you just get the right, set of stats together that fits with your character, then it's going to be the best you can get, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think D2 players can appreciate that because a lot of the high-end guys would end up with just a lot of rare items.
Yep.
As opposed to uniques.
Yep.
I think that sucks for sort of mid-range players because uniques, which would be, I guess, the same as legendaries now, they presented an opportunity to get pretty good gear, and they were a lot easier to get. Constantly re-rolling for optimal stats it's definitely something for the hardcore people.
Yeah, yep. And I guess that's where the whole crafting thing comes in. You have to make a lot of a certain type of item before you're going to get the stats that you want. Yeah. What was that?
My flatmate just told me he found a legendary just then.
Nice. So what one was it?
I'll have a look. Give us a shift click, please, James.
The anticipation is killing me.
The question is he going to equip it and use it?
Oh, there we go. Lacuni Prowler's wrists. They look pretty decent. Yeah, attack speed on them. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Anyway, what were we talking about? That's right, legendary items. I had something else to say on that, but I've forgotten it. Hopefully I'll remember later. Cool. So there was another thread about, boss drops don't seem to be very good. So for anyone that didn't know, I'm pretty sure there's a thing, something that Blizzard put in there where the first time you go through normal, you get a couple of rares for every boss you're down. Is that correct? Do you guys know? Do either of you guys know if that's...
Yeah, that seems right. Like, through every boss fight in normal, I was getting yellows, and then afterwards we just stopped getting them, and I was going, what's going on? This is a harder difficulty, you think you'd get more.
Yeah.
Just stopped getting them.
You seem to play through Nightmare, and you seem to get more from rare packs than you get from actual bosses, which just seems really wrong. But there was a blue post about it. Bashiok had replied to it saying that once you're level 60 and you get the Nephilim Valor buff, boss kills will be quite lucrative, which I have sort of seen in action. I was playing with a guy today that had the full stack, and he was getting, 5 magic items and 2 rares off most bosses, while I was getting, 3 magic items or whatever, because I'm not level 60 yet. So
yeah,
it does seem to work that way. So it's a whole new ball game once you get to level 60.
Yeah, like me and my 2 flatmates, we all just got to level 60 yesterday and today, and yeah, we've been doing using the buff, and it's definitely noticeable. Like, I think on one of the drops I got 4 yellows, and it wasn't even an act boss.
Wow.
It was just one of the secondary bosses or whatever.
Okay. That's a lot of yellows.
Yeah.
One drop. Chet, have you been doing the Nephilim Valor runs?
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't played too much since I hit 60, but yeah, I find 2 to 4 rares is not uncommon if you got a stack of 5.
Yep.
And I think I'm running with only 10 MF from my gear, something very small, so
yep.
It's all about the Nephilim Valor.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to getting it. I haven't got there yet, but I'm getting there slowly.
Another thing that's real noticeable about it is the gold find on it. I'm not sure if people really talk about that much, but when you're at a 5 stack, you see 500 gold piles and stuff like that all the time.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Cool. Cool. Well, I guess we'll go into the next part. So, you guys are both level 60. You've gone through Hell all the way. Have you, Curtis? Have you been through Hell all the way?
We're about halfway through Act 4 now.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So you haven't killed Diablo yet in Hell?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's pretty hard in Hell.
Yeah. Well, I've just started it now, so I'm in Act 2 in Hell, and I'm dying a lot. It's pretty hard. I just keep having to add more defense and more defense. I think I'm up to 20k health now. Just keep swapping out damage for health. So with the health, how's it going? We had the conversation a couple of podcasts ago about the attributes and stuff. How's it working out for you, Curtis, with that? Is it pretty much, does it feel as you thought it would with the health and everything?
I'd say not exactly max out your primary, nothing else. I'd say go more 50-50 with vitality in your primary.
Yep, that's pretty much what I've found. I think I've got 750 dexterity and just over 700 vitality.
Yeah.
What about armor and, well, I suppose it depends what class you're playing. You're playing barbarian, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you naturally get heaps of armor. But what about dodge and stuff? Have you tried to get some dexterity, or have you had any items where you put them on and seen your dodge go up?
Well, my dexterity is 67. But I've got me and one of my flatmates are using skills that party buff 15 to dodge. So my dodge amount is it? Yeah, it's about 30%.
That's
So,
the mantra, isn't it? One of
yeah.
the monk mantras. Yep.
Yeah, Monk Mantra and Warcry.
Okay.
Brent Warcry to have dodge as well.
Ah, right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, I've got a few things that give me armor. So there's a monk skill that gives you armor. The Deadly Reach adds, what is it? The last hit adds like 50% armor or something.
Oh, yeah.
I've been using that. It's really hard to tell like how much difference it makes, but whenever I take it off and almost die, it always makes me go back and put it back on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't know if it's just, playing games with my head or if it really makes a difference. It's hard to tell just by playing the game. I guess you have to really sit down and work it out.
Yeah, well, what I've noticed with, when I was talking about it and I was like, you want to try and keep everything as even as possible.
Yeah.
I think that's really true because, like, my armor and dodge was up pretty high, but I was still getting totally destroyed by elemental damage. And so I've started trying to get my resistances up now, and my survivability's gone up quite a bit since I started.
Yep. So what attacks, when you talk about the elemental damage, like, what in particular, is it usually, the arcane, like when you go up against the arcane mobs, or...
Just any of their attacks, really. Any of the boss attacks. Like, usually, like, the acid pulls or the fire pulls would take me out quick as, but since I've put my resistances up a bit, I think I've got 30%, like, 30% resist to types of damage. And
which is... Yeah, to get 30%, you need about 80, 90. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I'll have a quick check.
Yeah, I was looking at that
my poison, I got 39% poison resistance. That's at 195 at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think I was up to like I had, I think 85 on arcane, and it only gave me like a damage mitigation of 28% or something.
Yeah.
And I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I thought I had heaps. No wonder I'm still dying really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so, up quite a bit.
Yeah. How have you been going with your defense, Chet?
I pretty much, I think, starting from Nightmare, switched to a one-hander and a shield, pumped up the vitality. It started working a bit better, but I actually tried stacking a bit of health regen.
Yep.
I think with the follower, I'm sitting over about 1200 regen.
That's with the Templar.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the Templar, and I can sort of go toe-to-toe with a few elites in Hell, so I found that's helped a bit more.
Yep. And so with the Witch Doctor, are you using the Gargantuan most of the time, or?
I've been back and forth over a few builds. At the moment, I'm using the Dogs, because they have a leech, and the leech comes back to you as health regen.
Yep. Oh, right, okay. Do they do much tanking for you, or do they pretty much die straight away?
They don't do too bad. They do die pretty quickly to elite mobs. The AIs, it's not going to get away from all the arcane enchanted mobs and whatnot. So, I mean, they're going to die, but as long as they can distract a mob or two, I'm pretty happy.
Yep. Okay. So how much health are you working with now at level 60?
At 60, I've dropped. I was about 32k at one point, and I've swapped gear for more damage. I think I'm down to about 27k.
Yep. And so what was your regen again?
It's over 1,000.
Right. Okay.
Which isn't that much. Elite mobs still do about 3k to you, but I got Hex, which can pull out one of the mobs. I got the Dogs taking a few. The follower takes out one of them if you're lucky.
Yep.
And so you can sometimes end up just you one-on-one.
Yep. Yeah, it seems like with the elite mobs, it's the only time I have trouble is when it's like the arcane or one of the elemental spells that's like on the ground, like the molten fire on the ground, or the poison where, if you're standing on it, it's constantly damaging you. That's really the only time I have trouble. The only other time is if I just get swarmed and I can't get out, or there's those guys with like the 4 big arms that smash you for like 8k damage per hit. They're pretty hard. Like that's when I was in Nightmare. That was like almost all my health, so I could only take 1 hit from those guys. Yeah, but apart from that, like that's really where I've had the most trouble. So, well, so far I'm up to, what did I say? Yeah, Act 2. So we're getting close to the end of Act 2. Level 54 monk. So it's pretty fun.
For the Belial battle, do you know how the poison pools work?
No. Do you know how they work?
Yeah, we had heaps of trouble getting past it. We kept dying from the poison and all that.
Okay.
We ended up figuring it out, and you can just fully dodge them and take no damage at all if you know how it works. Like pretty much the green pool starts on the ground, and then they kind of, I don't know, power up or something, and then explode, and that's when the damage is dealt. So,
right.
So when one spawns, you can stand on it as long as you're off it when it explodes. So it's, yeah.
Yep. So it's almost
sense?
like a meteor kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So if you know how it works, it's easy as piss to dodge.
Okay, well that's good to know.
So
yeah,
that'll keep you alive in that fight that you're coming up.
Yep. Yeah, I was finding it really difficult to like find the spot on the ground that wasn't covered by green stuff.
Yeah.
When I was fighting him in Nightmare, and I just had to use like every damage mitigation I could possibly use to win that fight.
Yeah.
And very slowly kill him because I had no damage.
Yeah.
There's actually an achievement for doing that boss fight without getting hit by any of the green blobs.
Ah.
So it is all about dodging it.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other tips for any of the other bosses while you're at it, Curtis?
Not really.
Put you on the spot there.
Not really.
Cool. Do you have any tips, Chet?
Off the top of my head,
comes to mind.
good tips.
Pro tips.
Pro tips. Off the top of my head, not really, but I would say there's a few monsters that have a couple of key skills, and it's just in the middle of the fighting, you really got to look out for them. Learn the graphical signs of when they're going to do a specific move so you can get out of the way. Some monsters, you got to keep your distance. Some of them, staying close is better, even if you're a caster. So yeah, just learn the monsters. That helps so much. A lot of people are dying from mortar and not realizing that if you're up close, you don't get hit by mortar. Things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is it? The Heralds of Pestilence. A lot of people hate those guys as well. And that's just another thing. If you stay up close, they won't hit you.
What's the Herald of Pestilence?
I think that's its name. It's in Act 3. You encounter them when you're outside in the snow. They're the green ones. And they send an attack underground and it pops up.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah. So, because you can actually see the ground animation, but when there's so much stuff on screen, you don't notice it straight away.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do quite a lot of damage. And yeah, if you just walk up to them and hit them, they do a lot less damage.
Yeah.
Pretty much the way I do it is I just do a circle and just get tighter and tighter until I get to them, because even if I'm not watching the ground, you just accidentally dodge their main attack, that claw attack, or the underground attack if you're just circling. Yeah.
That's a good strategy. Cool. With that, we let's go into the different monster affixes that some of the elite mobs have. Some of them are pretty straightforward, like knockback. Nightmarish is just when they fear you. Teleport. Missile dampening. I don't know if I've seen that. Have you guys seen that?
I've seen it once.
Yeah, I think I've seen it once as well. It's pretty rare.
Creatures imbued with the trait generate a reddish sphere around themselves. Any projectile entering the sphere moves considerably slower. So it's like the wizard skill.
Slow time, and it's just stuck on the monster. So wherever he goes, it goes.
Yep. Molten. Now this is a fun one. If you guys know what it is, it's enemies leave a trail of like molten lava behind them, and they also have a tendency to like run around you in a circle, I've noticed, which is just really, really annoying. I don't know if you'd have that problem as a witch doctor. Have you had much of a problem with this, Chet, as a witch doctor?
Molten, not really. Although sometimes I wonder if it's still hitting you when you're not on the fire animation specifically, but right next to the monster when he's on it. I think sometimes you do get hit and you kind of forget.
Okay. Yeah. Have you got the... I don't know if it's default, because I went into the options and switched all this stuff on, but I know that you can have the numbers come up on the screen when you're actually taking damage. Have you got that on?
Yeah, I've turned it all on.
Yeah. That's definitely a good thing to have, because when you... Like, those big red numbers over your head are really noticeable, so it's definitely good to have that on. I mean, that's how I know if I'm standing on the molten. And yeah, I have a lot of trouble with this, like, because you walk up to something and you start attacking it, and then they like run a circle around you, and you'll be standing on the molten then, and you have to sort of reposition yourself, and then sometimes they'll reposition themselves, and it's like playing, you know, loop the loop or something. Yeah, and it just does so much damage. How about you, Curtis? Have you had much trouble with the molten?
Yeah, quite a bit, because I have to get up close to the damage, and when a whole pack's using it, or has it, it's quite hard if the ground's all covered and you got to try and get up there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm always playing in a group, and so usually I try and like go around behind or take a different angle, and you can't really follow those guys very well.
Yep. And the worst ones are when it's the type of mobs that try and run away from you, like the birds or, you know, one of those caster types, and you start running behind them in the line, and it's like, this reminds me of back in Diablo 2 when I used to use, was it Firewalk or something, or Wake of Fire?
Sorceress or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to kill, you know, mobs that way. Now they're doing it to me, the bastards.
Those birds are so frustrating how they just walk away from you.
Yeah, they're very annoying.
I just don't even kill them anymore.
I had one molten pack which was really tough in Nightmare on Act 4. It was those fallen angels that have the shield. It's like a damage dampening shield, and I was hitting things for like 1,000 damage, and it was bringing it down to like 200 damage per hit. And it was a champion pack, so they had heaps of life, and it was like Molten and Horde, and so he just had like so many guys, and they all had Molten and these shields, and it was like, it just took me forever to kill them. It was the worst pack ever.
Yeah.
But I think I've been saying that a lot, so maybe it's not true.
Yeah, there are some pretty nasty combos out there. I think one of the combos I got was the arcane, like the laser beams.
Yep.
And jailer as well, so you'd be trying to run away and they'd jail you, and you just see the beam coming closer, and you're just like, oh shit, can't do anything about it. Stand there and take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it kills you in about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Cool, so I'll keep going through the list. Plagued, which is, I wonder is the Plagued the same as what Belial does, or is it different? Because Belial's one explodes, is that right?
Yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah, so it looks similar, but the Plagued is basically just a green pool of stuff on the ground that does poison damage, I guess. So apparently, like molten mobs have fire resistance, and I'm guessing that Plagued have poison resistance?
Yeah, that's right.
So I didn't even know that. I mean, I think it's sort of something that I automatically just assume because it used to be that way in Diablo 2, but I didn't actually look it up or anything. Frozen imbued monsters inflict cold damage with their attacks and have strong cold resistance. They also have cold-based special attacks. is that the frozen orb thing where it explodes and freezes you? Yeah.
That is quite annoying.
Mortar, we spoke about that earlier, the mortar. Shielding gives the monster a brief period of invulnerability, which is just really, really annoying. Electrified gives the monster lightning resistance as well as lightning damage when attacking, and they have like the charged bolt when they get hit as well. Extra health, that's pretty obvious what that is. How much extra health do they get? Do you know? Do you guys know how much they get?
It seems like double sometimes.
Yeah.
Could be more than that sometimes.
Yeah. I never really take much notice of how much health they have, just how much health they have left.
Yep.
So, Illusionist. This one is, I think it's really scary. You know, it can be really scary when it just covers the screen with guys. So, imbues a creature with the ability to create dangerous clones of itself. So they don't, grants no new resistances, and the damage dealt by an illusionist is not modified in any way. The illusionist is available to minions, as well as rare and champion monsters. So, each clone has the same HP as its host. That's not right.
No, that's not right.
Yeah, that's definitely
They've got like 10%.
Yeah, they've got a lot less.
Yeah.
So, unless this is an old list or something, that's not right. Clones cannot create new ones. So that's, I don't know if, if people have seen it, but yeah, it's pretty scary because they basically create like another 5 versions of themselves with a lot less health.
Can I describe what's going on my screen at the moment?
Sure.
It's to do with the illusionists. We're in Act 4, and what are these monsters called? Morlu Legionnaire, and they're the monsters that drop meteors. And we got a champ pack of illusionists, and so there's like 20 of them, and the meteors are just consistent, like we had screen lag because it's just meteor, because all of the illusionists all cast in it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, those guys were giving me the shits as well when I was doing a nightmare, because they run away from you too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying.
All the casters are annoying.
Yeah. Cool. Thorns, which is basically just when you melee attack them, they return damage.
I don't think I've seen Thorns. I've seen Reflect Damage, if that's the same. They've just changed the name.
That's the same way.
Maybe. Arcane Enchanted. Arcane Beams. So they kind of like spin around in an arc. They do like a 360 beam. It's like as if a laser gun popped up on a turret and spun around in a circle. Yeah. And they do a lot of damage.
Very predictable, but very dangerous.
Yeah, predictable, but sometimes, like if you get, a Waller with Arcane, you can't really get out. You sort of just stand there while your death comes very slowly. It's like in a James Bond movie where he's tied to the table and the laser's like slowly coming towards him.
Yeah.
And you're like hoping that the wall disappears so that you can run away. Yeah, they're fun. Fast, obviously, makes the monsters run, attack, and cast magic faster. Pretty straightforward. Fire chains. This is a fun one as well. And this is another one where I'm pretty sure the AI actually knows to try and get you in the middle of the chain.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, it's basically just, usually in, a pack of 3 champions, it's a chain between the 3 champions that does fire damage. So yeah, it hurts a lot. And if you get a fire chain waller and you get stuck in the middle, you're pretty much dead. Avenger. What is I don't think I've seen an Avenger. Only champion.
I've seen one.
Yeah.
And yes, I think they get stronger for each one you take out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. When a champion group is imbued with Avenger, the death of each group member imbues the remaining champions with added power.
Yeah. And they grow in size a little bit. Like once you kill one, you see the other ones kind of puff up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder how much. So were they a lot of trouble when you came up against them? Or?
Not really. What we did was made sure we weakened them all equally, so that when we finished them, the strong one would only be at like 20% health anyway.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Health link. I have seen this, but I haven't really noticed what it actually does. So let's read about it. Health link reduces the amount of damage taken by the champion with the trait by linking his HP to that of all other health link champions in the area. So they're basically working off one big pool of life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Horde. This is a fun one. Horde increases the squad of minions that spawn with a rare monster. It's just crazy. Like, so many guys. This is another fun one. Invulnerable minions. Only rare monsters. Have you had some good experiences with invulnerable minions?
Yeah, you could say good.
Do you want to share it with us?
Just having to quit games because it's too hard. Especially if you get it with the wrong monster as well, because some monsters are tough enough as it is in a pack, let alone when they're invincible.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that, because I've come up against it I think twice, and it hasn't been particularly hard, but I mean I've come up against other packs that are just really hard to kill, and I can't imagine being able to beat, a mob with invulnerable minions. Like if that, for example, those guys that cast the meteor, if you had those guys with invulnerable minions, it'd just be impossible because it's just meteor all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad for a ranged class, because what will happen is all the minions will get in front of the main one, and when you shoot, your projectiles are all blocked. You literally can't do anything.
Yep. Actually, that was one thing that I noticed when we came up against it once. But playing him in the league character is obviously not as bad. But I was standing there, and sometimes he'd be like clicking on the minion because he was standing right in front of the main guy. So yeah, that's annoying. The next one is Jailer, which basically just locks you down in a position. It doesn't stop you from casting or anything. You can still attack from wherever you are. But yeah, like we were talking about before, if you get that in combination with some other things like Molten or Plague or anything arcane, you're gonna die if you get stuck in there and you don't have any way to mitigate that damage. It's not very fun. Vampiric. So that's basically, I think most people would know what the Vampiric would be. It's like a health steal thing. So have you guys noticed this being much of a problem? Chet, have you had a problem with this? Like, has it made a mob really hard to kill for you?
Not particularly. It just takes a lot longer.
And have you noticed their health going up when they've been doing damage to you?
Yeah, a little bit. It's pretty slow, so I'm not entirely sure how much or how fast it leeches back, but
yep,
it's definitely annoying. You can sometimes see it going up.
I've noticed, it seems, from the fights that I've had with them, it seems like they've just got a passive life regen.
Yep.
Like when I'm dead on screen, and you're watching the other monsters hoping to get a revive, and you can just see their health going up, and they're not even doing anything. So I'm not sure if that's part of it, or...
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it might actually just be that.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really looked into it too much. I'm usually just too busy trying to kill them as fast as possible. They're vampiric, quick, kill them before they get their health back.
Yeah.
So, I haven't noticed it really going back up. They seem a bit more resilient, but that's all I've noticed so far. But maybe that will be... It might be a bigger deal once you get to, like, Inferno and you actually are dealing with enrage timers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, what's the deal with those? I haven't really...
You haven't run into it?
So there are enraged timers?
Yep, but it's only in Inferno, I think, from what I've heard. Have you run into any enraged timers, Chet?
I didn't find any in Hell. I saved Kane in Inferno, and that was as far as I got.
Okay. Is that because it was just getting too difficult, or you just ran out of time?
If you skip the elite mobs, you could probably do it, but it's just not worth the effort. I mean, even a regular zombie does, I think, 10k damage in a single hit.
Jesus.
So
wow, that's... And here I am complaining about, like, a monster in hell doing that much damage.
Yeah, so it's just very clear you don't have the gear for this. So I'm happy to go back to hell and farm.
Yep. Cool. There's only a couple left. Vortex. This is a fun one. It's pretty much the opposite of knockback. It's really, really annoying. It just sucks you into, the champion pack or rare mob that has it. It's really annoying when you're trying to run away because you've got no health left. Waller. I think most people know what Waller is. Cast, a wall around you. Usually has 3 sides. Usually the open side is where the monster is. So you pretty much have to run past them to get out. Anything else to say on those, Chet?
No, I think you've covered most of them. I guess the only thing is which combo is the worst.
Yeah. Have you had any interesting combinations that you can remember off the top of your head?
Yeah, I definitely say things like Mortar, Invulnerable, Frozen, all combined as kind of end game. Like, I just don't think you can do it with certain builds.
Yep. Yeah, see, I don't find Mortar to be that much of a problem, obviously, because my character's a melee character.
Yep.
It's hard if you're trying to run away, but yeah, it's not really a problem for me. The Frozen thing, like Curtis was saying before, identifying when it's coming, and because you can see all the little white balls like getting bigger, and most of the time you can find a safe spot to stand where you're not going to get frozen. Or, if you're a monk, you can just use the Serenity skill and shield yourself, which is cool too. But yeah, it's not too difficult to not get frozen.
I would say most of the skills on their own aren't a problem. It's when they're combined that it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can run to a safe place, but if you get jailed at the same time, then you're screwed.
Or if, there's arcane beams flying around everywhere.
Yeah.
And you might be able to run somewhere safe, but you'll be running through a beam of arcane to get there.
So I feel like most classes would have an escape of some sort to deal with these situations, but is that the case?
Well, I haven't got too far with... I pretty much only ever played the monk. What about the witch doctor? Is there... Well, he has the spirit walk thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, so...
Yep.
That's a 15-second cooldown, so it's not too long, so... I do manage to get out of frozen states and jailed states before arcane beams and whatnot, but I don't know about how the other classes deal with it.
Can you cast that once you're frozen? Does that get you out of being frozen?
It actually breaks the snare completely, so...
Okay. So that doesn't... I can't... That's not what I can't actually do that with the monk. His shield, if you put it on before the frozen thing, bursts, then it ignores it, and you don't get frozen. But if you try and hit it afterwards, it just doesn't. Nothing happens. You can't really do anything at that stage. So yeah, which what about the barbarian? Does he have any way of getting out of that? I mean, there's leap obviously, but is there anything else besides that?
I've been using ground stomp, which is really handy to stun them.
Yep.
And revenge as well, because it heals 5% of your max life for each enemy hit. So if you're surrounded in a mob, you can just keep slamming it. Like, you get the proc off
Yep.
quite a lot, and it pretty much, if you're surrounded, it pretty much puts you back to max health.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, leap as well. And another good one is whirlwind, and you can rune it to move at normal run speed. So,
Okay.
and that goes through enemies, so you can basically just walk through a pack while damaging them. So yeah.
Yeah. Does revenge work if you're like frozen?
No, you can't do anything when you're frozen, as far as I'm aware.
So what about I think the wizard has, what's the wizard one called? I can't remember.
Teleport or?
Oh, they've got teleport, yeah. And the demon hunter has vault, and what's the one where they're invulnerable? Smoke screen? Is it smoke screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I suppose everyone's got like a way of getting out of stuff like that pretty quickly. I guess it just depends on your build and what you decide to use. Which is another thing I wanted to talk about. So, Chet, what have you been doing build-wise? What are you using at the moment? Or skill-wise?
Skill-wise, I'm using my single target DPS spell is Poison Darts.
Yep.
With the Splinters rune.
Okay, so that's like the first one you get.
Yep, pretty much. And I'm using Grasp of the Dead.
Yep.
With the Unbreakable, the rune that increases the movement speed to 80.
The first one you get.
80. Yep, the first one. Using the Locust Swarm as my primary sort of AoE damage. I'm using Spirit Walk because of Jailer and so forth.
Yep.
And I've sort of changed the runes around and played with it. One of them is to increase your mana.
Yep.
It regenerates a bit. One of them is a little bit of life. I've played with both of those.
Yep. Okay.
What else? I use Hex, which is...
What is... Oh, that's the little pygmy guy?
Yeah, and...
Yeah.
He turns things into chickens, which works well on elites and whatnot. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. I was surprised that stuff like that actually worked with elites, because I think in Diablo 2 it didn't always work on elite and rare mobs. Yeah, but it's good to have them, not being able to do any damage while you're trying to survive.
Yeah, and I got it ruined to give a little bit of heal on it as well.
Okay, how does that work?
I tested it while I was on my own, and you get about 2 heals off every time you cast it. It's 1,861 life, so it's not much. I think it's pretty much the same as effectively giving about 230 passive health regen.
Okay, right.
It says heals allies. I don't know if it does everyone at the same time for that amount, or if it's just one person in the group.
Right, okay. Well, maybe it might just increase everyone's health regen in the party.
Yeah, I hope it does. I'm keen to test that out sometime.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, well, I've been using mostly defensive skills. I've been using the health regen mantra, but mostly, not really for the health regen, mostly for the spirit regen, because there's a rune that can actually adds like 3 to spirit regen, which is quite a lot when you combine it with a few other things. My spirit regens pretty quickly, and it's mostly useful for like if you have no health and you need spirit to heal yourself or something like that. Because when you do have health, most of the time you're in there just attacking them and building spirit that way. So I'm using that mantra. I'm using the Deadly Reach Spirit Builder with the rune that gives me 50% extra armor, which seems to make a pretty good difference. I mean, I was talking about that before. I'm using... I was with my Spirit Spender. It took me a while to find the one that I liked. I'm not a big fan of knockback. Having knockback kind of annoys me because then you have to chase down the enemies. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I suppose it'd be okay if you had the dash skill that the monk has, but I haven't been using it because I've been using more defensive skills. But yeah, so the one I chose was the kick with a rune that actually has a chance to stun, a 50% chance to stun, which is pretty often. It's like every second time you cast it, it stuns everything in front of you, like in an arc. So that's pretty cool, and it doesn't knock them back. They all stay in the position. When there's like hordes of skeletons, it takes them out pretty quickly. And I'm also using the heal, the monk's heal that heals the party, and with a rune that gives me plus 15% attack damage. Actually increases my damage by 50% for like 45 seconds whenever I use a heal, which is cool. And the Serenity skill, which is a shield that lasts for 3 seconds, and you basically can't be damaged for 3 seconds. There's a few different runes on that. I haven't really decided which one I like the most. I think it really depends on the party and what's going on, because there's one that will heal you, so it's essentially like having a second heal. There's one that makes it last for 4 seconds rather than 3, and there's one that will absorb all the damage that you're taking and then do like a nova, like a circle attack that hits everything for the same amount of damage that you took. Well, it's not the same amount, it's like 30% of the damage that you absorbed. I tried that out, but it didn't seem to be super effective. I think it might be more effective now that I'm taking a lot more damage, but I have to give it another go and see how it goes. The other thing I've been using is the seven-sided strike. One of the cool things about it, which I think people may not realize unless they've been actually playing a monk, the seven-sided strike essentially is the same as the shield. While it's happening, you're invulnerable. You can't be hit because you're doing the seven-sided strike. So when I've been up against those monsters that do like 8k damage in one hit, I've just been casting the seven-sided strike when they're about to hit me, and then I do my damage and don't get hit. So that's one of the really cool things that I think some people probably haven't realized. So yeah, that's what I've been using. What about you, Curtis? What skills have you been using?
Well, the build that I had planned turned out really crap. I was dying a lot. I needed one single target damage attack, and I thought I'd be a tank and just use Frenzy, but there's so many enemies, and you can't. And like with this boss modifiers, you just can't really do that. I found a lot of the fights I was just running and trying to stun, and then running and trying to stun because I couldn't get close enough to do Frenzy.
Yep.
But at the moment, the main ones I'm using is I'm using Bash with the rune to get extra Fury, so I can just charge my Fury up real quick, so it's 12 per hit.
Yep.
Using Whirlwind with the Volcanic Eruption for extra damage.
Yep.
And I'm also using Revenge, which I don't think I'd be able to play without that. Like, it's just so helpful.
Yep.
And then the other two is just Battle Rage and War Cry, just for the extra damage and extra defense.
Yep.
But yeah, it works pretty well.
What about the I forgot what it's called now, but the one where you turn into like the super barbarian?
Oh, it's good, but the cooldown's just too much. Like I thought, I'll try it for a boss fight, but you only use it once and it only lasts 15 seconds. So
yeah,
you can maybe take off like a 20% of the boss's health or something. But then for the rest of the fight, you're left with a skill slot missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing, you know. Like, I've tried to swap out, you know, the extra heal and the extra shield, you know, so many times, but I just found that I needed them for defense. But, you know, that skill slot's so valuable. It could be there to be doing extra damage, or, you know, it could be doing so many other things.
Yeah.
So you're really limited. It's such a funny thing, because back in the old days, it was so different. You could use as many as you wanted, but you had to switch them all the time. And now you're limited to 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah. From there, Curtis, you had a skill combo you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, it was a wizard one. It's the energy armor, and there's a rune you can put in it called force armor. And that pretty much means you can only take 35% damage, 35% of your max life damage at once.
Yep.
And so what you do, if you have your max life is really low, then that means the max amount of damage you can take is also really low. And then if you start getting health regen, like Chet was saying before, he's got over 1,000 per second, is it?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so if you had that regen with low health, then yeah, you'd be able to basically regen your health within like a second or so of taking damage.
Yep. And I think I've the guy that can't remember what his name was, but there was a guy that the first guy to kill Diablo solo in Hell, I think it was, or maybe it could have been Inferno. It was on the forums, and apparently that's how he did it. He did it using that skill combination.
Really?
Apparently it took him like hundreds of goes to get it, but that's how he did it. So I think Jay Wilson had commented on it saying that they were going to do something to make that not possible.
Oh.
Not sure. Or I might be getting confused with the corpse hopping thing of the other guys that did it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
oh, I think
cool.
I remember reading something about when you're resurrecting, sometimes when you take damage, it doesn't knock you out of the res, and it's supposed to.
Yeah, he was saying that they're going to change that.
It happened a few times to me during the Butcher fight. Like, I'd be rezzing someone, and he'd throw his chains, and they'd hit me, but I'd still keep rezzing.
Yep.
So I was like, sweet.
Cool.
That makes it a bit easy.
Yep. So, lastly, let's talk about the launch night. How did you guys find it, Chet? Did it take you 45 minutes to get in like it took me?
Yeah, I think I got in about 8:30, so an hour and a half after the servers went up.
Yep.
Okay. But otherwise, it was okay.
And you were ready to go, like, right on the dot
Yep.
of lunchtime? Were you just sitting there copying and pasting your password in?
Yeah.
Did you take a break at any time?
During my first play?
Yeah.
Not really. I think I played till about 10 in the morning, and then the servers went down again.
Yeah, I think I must have just missed that. 10 would have been 8 for me, and I think I went to bed at like 7:30, so I must have gone like just before that happened. Yeah. Did you play till the servers went down, Curtis?
No, I was pretty tired, eh? I had a late night the night before, and as soon as I saw that the servers weren't working straight away, I just went to bed for a bit and then just set my alarm. I mean, just checked like an hour later, still wasn't up, and just rested again. Ended up playing for about 5 or 6 hours.
Yep.
And I think they went down after I went to bed, so that was alright, good timing.
Yep. And you had like a group that you were going to play with?
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
So have you pretty much just been playing your barbarian with them?
Yeah, it's been really good actually. We've all been able to play roughly the same amount together, so we all hit 60 within a day of each other, and we've pretty much just been playing with each other, and it's been pretty cool.
Yep. Did you find a fourth person?
We've not really. Everyone seems to be too busy playing to be party joining. I don't know. We've had a few people in sometimes, but yeah, not really. Majority of the time it's just us three.
Yep. Okay. And have you tried any other character classes, Chet?
Nah, I've just been focusing on the Witch Doctor.
Yep.
Wanted to get to Inferno, see what it was like first.
Yep. Did you have anyone did you have anything organised for the launch night? Anyone to play with?
There was a few guys that I thought about playing with, and I decided that I wanted to play it single player. Just turn the lights off, it's been years since I've waited for a game like this, and
yeah.
just wanted to take it slow.
Yep, get all the story in. Yeah. Cool. Well, is there anything else you guys want to add before we close it up?
We just killed Hell Diablo, but our Nephilim Bella buff ran out because we took too long.
That sucks.
I know.
So what did you get? 2 blues?
Oh, yeah, 3 blues. Good guess.
That sucks.
Oh,
cool. All right. Well, I guess we will close it up there. I am Huego, or John. I've had Chet with me, and Curtis, also known as Weightless. Hopefully Highlander will be back next week. I'm sure he will, and we can catch up with him. If you want to catch us on YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/Diabloherald. You can also find us on Twitch TV /Diabloherald. We're on iTunes as well if you want an audio version of the podcast. If you want to chat with us, we're always on the D3 Down Under forums, which is just d3downunder.com. Or you can tweet us at Diabloherald, or send us an email, diabloherald@gmail.com. Now check out Highlander's channel. He's a pretty cool dude. He's got some cool achievement news and that kind of thing. It's youtube.com/ScottishMoo. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening. See ya.